When I first met him, it felt like stepping into the pages of a fairy tale. Everything about him seemed perfect. The way he smiled, the way he listened to every word I said as if it was the most important thing in the world. He had this aura of confidence that made me feel safe, and a charm that could light up any room. I thought I had found the one. The man who would love me forever, cherish me, and protect me from the chaos of the world. But sometimes, what looks like a dream is really just a beautiful illusion. And mine turned into a nightmare. Our story started innocently enough. We met at a friend's party, one of those nights where everything seemed magical. He approached me with an ease that caught me off guard. And his words flowed effortlessly, making me laugh and blush in equal measure. It was as though we were the only two people in the room. By the end of the night, we had exchanged numbers, and my heart was already racing with the possibilities of what could be. The first few months were like living in a dream. He was attentive, affectionate, and seemed genuinely interested in everything about me. He remembered the little things, like how I took my coffee or the stories I told him about my childhood. He showered me with compliments, gifts, and gestures that made me feel like I was the most special person in the world. It wasn't just love, it felt like a whirlwind romance straight out of a movie. Looking back, I can see the red flags that I ignored, the subtle signs that something wasn't quite right. But at the time, I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. Love has a way of clouding your judgment, making you see what you want to see rather than what's really there. He would sometimes get overly jealous, questioning me about my male friends or where I was going. At first, I thought it was sweet that it showed how much he cared. But over time, the questions turned into accusations, and the sweetness became suffocating. I found myself making excuses for his behavior. He's just protective, I'd tell myself. He's been hurt before. I wanted so badly for things to work out, to hold on to the dream I had built in my mind. So, I ignored the sinking feeling in my stomach when he started criticizing me in subtle ways. It wasn't outright insults, but little comments that chipped away at my confidence. "Are you really wearing that?" He'd ask, or "You'd look better if you lost a few pounds." At first, I laughed it off, thinking he didn't mean any harm. But over time, those words started to stick, and I began to doubt myself. The turning point came during an argument over something trivial. I can't even remember what it was now. But his reaction was anything but trivial. His words cut like knives, filled with anger and venom that left me stunned. It was as if the man I thought I knew had vanished, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. He apologized later, of course, blaming his outburst on stress or a bad day. And I forgave him because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You forgive, you try to understand, and you hope things will get better, but they didn't get better. The cycle of love and hurt became my new normal. One moment, he would be the man I fell in love with, kind, caring, and full of promises about our future. And the next, he would tear me down, leaving me feeling small and unworthy. I started walking on eggshells, constantly trying to avoid anything that might set him off. My friends noticed the change in me. They saw how I had pulled away, how I had become quieter, more reserved. Some tried to talk to me about it, but I wasn't ready to hear the truth. I was too afraid to admit that my fairy tale had turned into a nightmare. The breaking point came on a night I will never forget. We were out with friends, and something I said, something completely harmless, set him off. He humiliated me in front of everyone, his words dripping with contempt. I felt the weight of their stares, the pity in their eyes, and in that moment, something inside me snapped. I realized I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep sacrificing my happiness, my self-worth, for someone who didn't truly love or respect me. Leaving him was the hardest thing I've ever done. The fear of being alone, of starting over, was almost paralyzing. But deep down, I knew I had no other choice. The person I had become wasn't who I wanted to be. I had lost myself in trying to hold on to a relationship that was slowly destroying me. The weeks after the breakup were some of the darkest of my life. The pain of letting go, the doubt and guilt, felt unbearable at times. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, I started to feel a sense of freedom that I hadn't felt in years. I began to rediscover who I was, to reconnect with the parts of myself that I had lost. Therapy became a lifeline for me, helping me unpack the pain and rebuild my confidence. I learned to set boundaries, to recognize the red flags that I had ignored before, and to prioritize my own happiness. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. Looking back now, I can see how that relationship, as painful as it was, taught me some of the most valuable lessons of my life. It taught me the importance of self-love and the strength it takes to walk away from something that no longer serves you. It showed me that love should never come at the expense of your dignity or your peace of mind. Today, I'm in a place I never thought I'd be. I've found happiness within myself, surrounded by people who truly love and support me. And while I still carry the scars of that relationship, I wear them as a reminder of how far I've come. They are a testament to my resilience and my ability to overcome even the darkest of times. To anyone listening who may be going through something similar, I want you to know that you are not alone. You deserve a love that lifts you up, not one that tears you down. And if you're feeling stuck, afraid to let go, I want you to know that there is a life waiting for you on the other side, a life filled with joy, freedom, and the kind of love that you truly deserve. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more deserving of happiness than you could ever imagine. Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to let go. But sometimes, letting go is the only way to find yourself again. And that, my friends, is where the true fairy tale begins.